Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's TK. So it's summertime and it's beach season, and if you're looking for ways to improve your health, maybe lose a couple pounds, keep watching this video for 5 healthy Japanese foods to incorporate into your diet. Now before we get started, if you can hit that subscribe button, that would make me really happy, and it's free, so why not, right? So Japan is known for having a very high life expectancy rate. It's usually in the top 3 in the world, and also it has a very low obesity rate. As of July 2020, it's about 3 to 4% compared to like over 30% in the US. Now, how did I know this? Well, I work as a healthcare consultant, so given my work background, I like to know these kind of numbers. But anyways, there are many contributing factors that actually supports the overall health of the Japan population, but the healthy Japanese diet and cuisine is one of them. So today I'll be going over Japanese foods that you can easily, or you can at least get, even if you're living outside of Japan. Now, just as a disclosure, some food may not solely be Japanese or also found in other cuisine, but nevertheless are commonly found in traditional Japanese cuisine. If you have any dietary restrictions or health conditions, please consult with your physician dietitian before incorporating it into your diet. So the first one is seaweed. Can you name the benefits of seaweed? If not, keep watching. So seaweed is low in calories and it's very nutritious. It has a lot of minerals like magnesium and iron, zinc. Also has it has some vitamins, A, B, C, E, and K, I believe. And it's a good source of antioxidants, help reduce inflammation in your body. Now it also has some omega fatty acids that help promote hair growth. Now, some people say that Asians have like stronger and like healthier hair because of the high intake of seaweed, which I don't really know if it's true. I feel like it's more like a genetic thing. But I do eat a lot of seaweed, and for someone who's been dyeing their hair since they were 8, I think I'm doing pretty good. Now, the amount of nutrients depends on the type of seaweed. You can look it up online, but yes, there are different kinds of seaweed. So, for example, the type of seaweed you see in like sushi is nori. That's like that black dried thing. And then there's like wakame, which is a type of seaweed you commonly see in miso soup. And then there's also kombu, which is usually used in dashi or broth. Now, the kombu that I'm talking about today is a little different, or it's very different than the superfood or drink kombucha that you see in Western grocery stores. So kombucha is a type of fermented drink made from like tea, sugar, yeast, and bacteria, I believe. And the kombucha that you see in Japan is made from like kombu kelp. So if you ever go to Japan and decide that you want to look for, like you want to drink kombucha, just be careful on what you ask for or what you look for, because you might have a harder time finding kombucha, like the superfood or super drink, in Japan. Now, I've actually never had kombucha before. I don't know, my friend had it once, or I saw my friend get it from Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, I forgot where it was, but it looked very like slimy and like green, and it smelled interesting. So I've never had it, but if there's any kombucha that you would highly recommend, leave that in the comments below. Maybe I'll try it sometime and make a video off of it. Now, when you order a seaweed salad at a Japanese or sushi restaurant in the US, you probably get something like this. But I've actually never seen this at a Japanese store or like in Japan. I think it's more like a Western thing. And the seaweed salad, so this is still pretty nutritious, but it also has a lot of sugar, sodium, and I believe they add like sesame oil to it. So if you want to really eat seaweed for the health benefits, you might just want to get like a dried seaweed, pack of dried seaweed from any like local Asian store, sink that in water, and then add that to your soup or like salad. But if you decide to do that, make sure you rinse it with water first, because it's packed with sodium. So if you don't do it, it can make your soup or salad very salty. Now the next one is natto. everybody's favorite, right? Fermented soybeans. So natto is found in a lot of traditional Japanese cuisine. It's known for its acquired taste and like sliminess and like very stickiness. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've ever seen it. But the taste aside, it's very nutritious. So one pack is about like 80 to 100 calories, I believe. It depends on the brand and like the size of the pack. But it has a lot of vitamin K, which promotes or helps with bone growth. It also has a lot of protein. So again, this depends on the type of natto or like the type of brand. But one pack has like, I want to say 8 grams of protein compared to like 5, 6, 7 grams of protein in an egg. So it's pretty good. And it's high in calcium, also good for your digestive health. It goes through a process of like fermentation that promotes the growth of good bacteria, and there's actually like a lot of studies that support the health benefits of eating natto. It also has nattokinase, which if you've never heard of it, it is a thing. It's this enzyme extracted from natto, and I heard that it's good for your like cardiovascular health, lowering the risk of like heart disease and like reducing like cholesterol levels, things like that. Which they sell these like supplements at a store. So if you don't like the taste of natto, I guess you can get those. Although for your cardiovascular health, I feel like, I don't know, just eating a balanced meal, working out might be better than just relying on nattokinase. Now natto has a very acquired taste. It's very slimy, sticky, and like it tastes very nutty, I think. There's actually a lot of Japanese people who don't really like eating natto, and I think it's like either you hate it or love it. I personally love it, and I also love the health benefits of it. You can get it at like a local Asian store. In the US, one comes with like 3 packs of natto, and it's about like $3 to $4. Although in Japan you can get it for like, I don't know, a third or fourth that price sometimes. Now, if you never had natto before, it is quite an experience the first time you have it. So I wouldn't say if you never had it before, you're not really missing out. But I'm actually curious to know your natto eating experience. So did you like it? Did you not like it? Leave that in the comments below. Now the third one is miso soup. Miso soup is such a staple in Japanese cuisine. So miso is like fermented soy paste and commonly used as a seasoning in Japanese cuisine. It's a great source of minerals which support your bone growth, immunity, digestive health, and a common miso soup ingredient is like tofu, seaweed, and like green scallions or onions. But you can also add other types of like vegetables and like protein, like any egg, fish, meat, and customize it depending on what you like. And in the winter, I like to add a little bit of grated ginger to warm up my addy. Now you might think that miso soup is high in sodium content, but compared to eating like a bag of potato chips or like ramen, I would say it's better for you. Although just keep it in moderation. And what's great about miso soup is that you can easily make your own, or you can also get it at like a local grocery store. They have these like instant miso soup. Oh, but if you ever go to Japan, check out like the lineup of miso soup at like a grocery store or even like a convenience store, like 7-Eleven. They usually have so many different kinds of miso soup or like soup from like different type of miso. There's like red miso paste, or yeah, red miso, white miso, blended miso. Different prefectures are also known for like different type of miso, and there's also different like ingredients, how they make it, like freeze dried or like instant miso soup with miso paste. So check it out. It might be fun to see what kind of miso soup or what kind of products they have. I love going to Japanese grocery stores. They always have like so many different options, and like they always have new things every time I go. So the fourth one is edamame. Not edamame, but it's edamame, right? I feel like this should be added to commonly mispronounced Japanese food items. Oh, by the way, edamame literally means like beans on the branch, or like sun beans, peas. So eda in Japanese means branch, and mame means like beans or peas. So that's what it means, just as a fun fact. But edamame is fresh soya beans, commonly eaten during the summer in Japan. Although I guess you can eat it in like during any season. If you go to like a izakaya, or like you can just get it at a grocery store. But edamame is high in proteins. About 1 cup is about like 14 grams of protein, which compared to like 1 egg, it's about like I'm gonna say 5 to 7 grams of protein. That's actually pretty good. And it has a lot of minerals, vitamin, fiber. It's a great source of fiber as well. There was also a recent study published on JAMA, Internal Medicine, that supported that a plant-based protein diet reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease compared to an animal-based protein diet. So the study was led by the U.S. National Cancer Institute, which analyzed data of more than 400,000 adults over a period of 16 years, and they found out that changing their regular participants' regular animal-based protein intake by 3% to a plant-based protein diet reduced the risk of cardiovascular disease by about 10%. So that's a pretty big difference. Now, I'm not a clinician, dietitian, anything, and I'm not saying that we should change our diet entirely to a plant-based diet, especially because I love to eat sushi and steak and other things. But if you want to mix up your protein intake a little bit, maybe trying out edamame is one option. Now, how to incorporate into your diet? I feel like a lot of people like to, just eat it by itself, or put it in like stir-fry noodles, salad, soup. In Japan, it's commonly eaten by just boiling it and sprinkling a little bit of salt, which is also my favorite way of eating it, although just keep in moderation with the salt. So the last one is tofu, soy-based white block of bean curd. That does not sound appetizing, does it? But tofu is really good for you. It's gluten-free and low in carbs, low in calories. And I also heard from a lot of other people that tofu is high in protein content. And so when I looked it up, or I looked at the tofu that I was using to cook, and I was like, actually it doesn't have that much protein in it. I think like one serving, or like a fourth of tofu had 6 grams of protein, and natto is like 7-8 grams per pack. So I was like, actually this isn't that much, or I expected it to have a higher protein content. However, I noticed that the amount of protein also depends on the type of tofu you're eating. So tofu has a lot of water, or it has high water content. So if you're eating like a softer, silkier tofu, it has less calories, but it also has a low protein content. And if you're eating one of those firm tofu, then it has a little bit more calories, but more protein content as well. Now in the States, I feel like most people eat it cooked in like a stir fry, in I don't know, soup and noodles and salad after they fry it. But I tried it once. I put it in my smoothie once, which tasted interesting. Although I put some bananas and cocoa powder as well, so that balanced out the smell and the taste of tofu. So it actually didn't taste too bad. But in Japan, during the summer, a lot of people like to eat chilled tofu. It's called hiyayakko, and they put a lot of garnish, green onions and ginger and I don't know, a bunch of different things, and then usually some soy sauce to go along with it, and it actually tastes really good. So give that a try if you haven't already. So that wraps up the 5 healthy Japanese foods that you can incorporate into your diet. Now, if you're in Japan, you probably won't have a hard time finding these, but if you live outside of Japan, you can probably still find these at a local grocery store, like tofu, edamame, and the other items you can probably still find it at a local Asian store. So in the next video, I'll talk about how I combined some of the food items discussed today and added one more ingredient to the mix to really slim down a little bit. Not in terms of weight loss, although I did lose a couple pounds, but slim down. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on helpful content or learning something new. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.